Mm, mm, mm. Put my shit up there. I'll eat that. Well, that could be good.
No, pues no se preocupe.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
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 Good morning.
Good morning. I guess you can hear me.
I can hear you.
The new headset I've got on. Still getting used to it.
It has a great sound.
Oh, good. That's nice to know. It's the one that Proximity recommended.
Okay, well, I'm Pamela Gatlin. I'll be the host for. Apologize. I guess. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share with
Yes.
you a sort of bell ringer or opener that we can, you can kind of respond in the chat box or you can respond verbally. It's up to you. And we will just keep this up here for a few minutes while we wait for a few more people to join us.
Okay, what's the difference in a lab and like something else that's not a lab?
You mean
Uh,
in the trainings? In the trainings, Ron?
Right.
A lab is a hands-on thing. In other words, I'm going to do a lab on, and I'm going to walk you through step by step.
Okay.
Anything with a lab is a hands-on thing, or someone's going to show you step by step.
Sounds
And
good.
Chris, this is David Chanko. How are you today? How's
Good.
everyone? Question, following up on the last question. There's some sort of certificate given after a post-assessment after each one of these labs. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. Here, let me turn on my video for one thing. Now you can see me a little bit. So what I would ask is, how can I access the post-assessment in order to do
In
the
proximity, in ProxU, where the training courses have been. I can put a link there for all of you right now. You go there and it will be there for you. Let me just get that link up and I'll put it in.
Because that was never mentioned anywhere. It said do a post assessment, but it didn't say where or when or how.
Yes, it was in the, it's been in the subsequent emails that we've had, but I'll put the chat box
Okay.
for everyone right now.
video? Okay.
And also,
Chris, oh, go ahead.
okay, in the brochure, it mentioned the link, or they gave the link to see the bell ringer class or session.
It's
And
a video, yes.
I clicked on it, just like I clicked on the first one, but when I clicked on it, it took me to a page that says proximity, cannot find this page. I clicked on it several times, so I called support. Well, I contacted support. They tried it also and said they can't, they said to contact training. And I'd already sent Shelly Fisher a note.
Kelly,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going through the same issues, Christine.
okay, I'm gonna put that right while I'm sitting here right now, while we're waiting for the next 1 minute before she can start. And I'm typing it in right now. And that was the bell ringer.
Yeah, and Shelly sent me a link and said, try this one. And what she sent me was different from what was in the brochure.
She may have.
Yeah, but she said it was already in the brochure, but that was the wrong one.
No.
And Chris, one more thing about the certificates, I guess.
Yes.
I've got into ProxU and it says that I have 0 tasks to complete. So I'm not clear where I go once I'm in ProxU.
Well, it's in Talent Ed. At the end of this hour here with Pamela, I have office hours. Okay. It's in the, I'll put it in there for everyone. Anybody has any questions, when you log out of this, you can log right back into mine. I'll type it in the chat box, look for it in about a minute, and we'll let Pamela get going on her presentation. Okay.
Right. Thanks, Chris.
All right. And for those of you that haven't met me yet, I'm Chris Weddington, the trainer, and I have office hours in an hour. But right now, I'm turning it over to my colleague, Pamela Gatlin, and she's going to talk about the TA collaboration. So please keep your mics muted just in case. And it's all yours, Pamela.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. All right, so I love the responses I'm seeing in the chat box. As kind of a bell ringer, I wanted to kind of get an idea of your perspective on virtual teaching. As far as my understanding is, this morning's session is going to be all teachers that are new to proximity teaching. And that's really exciting. You're going to love it. And I could go on and on about how wonderful it is working with proximity. You get all the wonderful parts of teaching and none of the bad parts. So it's really great. I love the responses. Virtual teaching is like customer service because you're there to serve the students. These are great responses. I hope you're kind of looking over them in the chat box. My example was going to be virtual teaching is like baking a cake without a recipe, because you have to use what you have and make the best cake possible. So today in this lab, the majority of the time is going to be spent working in groups and talking about different situations and how we might address them when we're working with our in-class facilitator or our TA. This person is going to be our eyes and ears in the classroom. And we're going to talk about some different issues that might come up. The purpose of the lab today is to develop strategies for creating and maintaining successful relationships with in-class facilitators. Many of you have probably worked with a collaborative teacher in the classroom. Am I right? Have some of you done that? Special education teacher, co-teacher, collaborative teaching. So it's very similar in that aspect. Yeah, okay, awesome. So in your onboarding training, you probably, I'm pretty sure most of you have already talked with maybe Marcy about contacting your in-class facilitator at the very beginning of the year, hopefully before your class even starts. And if she hasn't already, she will provide you with an email that you can use as that initial contact. It's like an email template, and you can use that as your initial contact to get in touch with the TA and set up a time where you can talk, hopefully before the classes even start. I wanted to mention briefly a few other conversations that you might want to have when you talk to your TA for the very first time. You will be, I love that response. It's like Wild West because there's so much to discover. What an answer. So in addition to providing your TA with your contact information, your phone number, your email, that sort of thing, you probably want to talk with them about your communication preferences. I like texting or email. Either one of those are preferable to me, especially if I have more than one TA. They may not know my schedule and when I'll be teaching other classes. If they send me an email or a text, then I can get right back to them on whatever their concerns are or whatever they need. When I'm teaching a class, I prefer to use the little chat box. To me, it looks more professional than texting on my cell phone or even answering an email, and I can respond in the chat box without disrupting my class. However, you may want to be sure that your TA is not using a computer that the whole screen is being displayed in their classroom. Because if you're sending them a chat about a specific student and that chat, their whole computer screen is displayed on the whiteboard, all the students are going to see your chat pop up. That's something you want to be aware of. So how does your TA want you to communicate with them, and let them know how you want them to communicate with you. Now in the facilitator training, the TA training, they are going to be told that they need to log into all of the live classes. So they already know this, but you want to kind of talk to them about how they'll be signing in every day to class. Will they be using their computer to display on the screen, like I mentioned? Will they have their own computer? You know, just kind of let them know that you expect to see them in class every day. The TA can also give you a lot of information about the type of technology that your students are using. Zoom runs a little bit different on Chromebooks than it does on iPads. I found this out when my students were all sent home for distance learning last year, and they were all taking classes from home. I didn't know that if they were taking classes on an iPad, they can write on your screen, unless you disable that feature. And you can disable it, but it's good to know ahead of time what devices that your students are going to be using. Are they going to be sharing devices? Will they have microphones that they can respond to you on? Will they have access to the chat box? That sort of thing. And the TA can give you all of that information. You can also discuss with your TA what you expect your classroom to look like as far as student behavior. Now, the first week of school, just like you would in your regular classroom, you're going to be going over behavior expectations with your students. And the TA should be there for all of that. But it's nice to kind of give them a heads up on, this is what I expect students to do, and you know, this is what I plan on telling them the expectations are, so that they know. Now, the grades, the TA will be entering your grades from Canvas into the school's learning platform, whatever that happens to be. And we are, as proximity teachers, are expected to keep our grades updated at least once a week. And the TA needs to know exactly when you're going to have your grades updated. and when you're going to accept late work, so they can go back and check for grades for that makeup work and put that in their system. I use personally a lot of tools that do automatic grading so that I don't have to go in and manually grade everything. For example, Google Forms, you know, you can have students take quizzes and it'll grade automatically, and those can be set up to automatically enter into your Canvas gradebook. But your TA is going to need to know when to go back and look for those missing grades to put into their school gradebook. So that's another conversation you might want to talk about with your TA. And lastly, attendance. You're depending on the TA to take attendance every day. Otherwise, you may or may not know if a student was in class or was not in class. So these are just some conversations you may want to have, and it's by no means an end-all be-all list. I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of some things you might want to think about before you contact your TA. All right. So just like some of you mentioned, you have worked in a collaborative teaching environment before. Somebody asked a question, who sets the grading scales? Typically, in my experience, the school has given me their grading scale in the past, and they've even said we need to have 60% of the students' grade be for summative assessments or something like that. And they will work with the CSS for your school, and they will set it up in your gradebook for you, in my experience in the past. Okay, so it's like I was talking about, you have worked in classes before with collaborative teachers. A lot of you have. So you know how important it is to have a really great relationship with that person. And the same holds true in a virtual classroom. The better your relationship is, the students can kind of feed off of that, and they see that relationship. It really sets the overall atmosphere for your classroom. I have heard other teachers with proximity talk about how much smoother the year went when they had a great relationship with their TA. So right at the very beginning of the year, I would suggest trying to build a relationship with that person. So I'm asking you, and you can respond in the chat box, what would be helpful to know about your TA? What do you think would be helpful? This is the person that is like in the classroom with your students every day, monitoring their behavior, making sure they're logging on, making sure that they are paying attention in class and that they're on the right, that they're on the Zoom meeting, they're not off on other websites. Some kind of things that you would like to know about them to kind of get to know them. That's a great suggestion. Yeah, the comfort level with the subject, their background in education, what they have taught, previous experience. Yeah, those are all great things. I love in the chat box, if you're watching, we're getting some great suggestions. How comfortable they are. Yeah, what their management style is. These are excellent things to talk about. Yeah, and where the behavior is largely managed by the TA in the classroom, you can talk about together and try to work out what you want the classroom to look like. And these TAs can be anywhere from being a substitute teacher with no teaching experience whatsoever. It could be a retired teacher who is coming back into the classroom. It could be, I would assume, even a special education teacher that doesn't have that general education certificate in your content area. So it could be someone with a lot of experience and someone with
You
best
just
TA
froze.
that I ever had was a former PE teacher. Wonderful. Oh no. Am I back? Yes? Okay. Thank you. Thanks
Yes.
for letting me know. Okay. I apologize. All right. And what kind of things would you want your TA to know about you? Oh, the school culture. That is a huge thing. That would be wonderful to really get to know the overall school culture, and your TA hopefully could help you out with any of that. What kind of teacher I am. Yes. your expectations, your philosophy of teaching. Those are great responses. Okay, and I have one last question for you about regarding building relationships. What would you do to approach a TA that might be resistant to virtual learning? And what I mean by that is, well, a couple of things. This time last year, I would have said, oh, well, it could be, you know, an older retired teacher who just doesn't like technology. But now, after having experienced distance learning with my own children, I might think, you know, a lot of people have had bad experiences with distance learning. It was pretty bad with my own children when their teachers were thrown into distance learning. It was really hard for them, and they were great teachers, but my kids are in elementary school and they really struggled to keep their attention and the quantity of assignments that they could handle. So I feel like a lot of people have had bad experiences with distance learning, but we are not doing distance learning. We are virtual teachers, and we are set up to teach a virtual class. So we are trained, and we have the platforms, we have our curriculum built to teach a virtual class. But let's suppose that you have a TA that doesn't like the idea of virtual learning. How would you approach that? Engage the TA. That is a huge thing. I love that. Have them involved. Yeah, ask about their reservations. Yeah, try to make them feel more comfortable. Yes, I love that. Reinforce the fact that you are working together. Communication, that's perfect. Oh, a mock class would be a great idea, especially if you have time. Find out their experiences. Yeah, these are great answers. Awesome. Okay, and I totally agree. I feel like I had a TA that was a little bit resistant to virtual learning, but after a few weeks of observing the class and walking around, she really seemed to come around and seemed to understand that I could still build those relationships with students, and I could still get to know the students even though I'm hundreds of miles away. And you can do that too. I really feel like the TA is going to come around, you know, after observing and watching our classes. Awesome answers. Okay, one other thing I want to mention with you, and this is huge. We are all ambassadors for proximity learning. And what I mean by that is that we represent the company in everything that we do and say every single day. Now, I would go into every class that I teach, assuming that the school principal would prefer to have an in-person teacher. They would prefer to have somebody come to their school, a regular teacher, every single day. So as a virtual teacher, I really kind of have to go above and beyond to prove to them that I can be just as effective. I can have the same relationships. I can have the same test scores. I can do everything that a brick and mortar teacher could do in their classroom. So every single day I have to represent proximity in a way that really shows how great our company is and how wonderful an online teacher can be. So in this lab, we're going to be working in groups. We're going to discuss the possible challenges that you may encounter while working with a TA or an in-class facilitator. And as you consider how to handle these challenges, keep in mind your role as an ambassador for proximity learning. As an employee, you represent PLI in everything that you say and do, and professional behavior is key. So even if you come across the difficult TA, you have to maintain professional behavior. You have to be professional at all times. Okay, so today what we're gonna do, like I mentioned, most of the class is gonna be spent with you working in groups and considering different situations that you may come across. We're gonna look at the first scenario together, and then we will go into breakout rooms and you will work on some different scenarios as groups. So the tool that I've chosen to use today is called Dot Storming. And some of you may have used Dot Storming before. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It is a website where you can have a whole class discussion or a group project. Students don't have to log in. They can just go in and put in their name and they can contribute to a conversation. So that's what we're going to do today. And I'm going to copy and paste my screen here. If you could go to this website in your browser, you can either copy and paste this link or you can type in the bit.ly. It is bit.ly TAWWYD1. And we're going to take a look at a scenario together, and I'll kind of walk you through how to respond before we separate into groups. It is in the chat box. Hopefully you can see it. And I'm going to change my screen sharing so you can see what this looks like.
Bit.ly.
Oh, wow, you guys are fast. Okay. All right, so the first scenario we're going to look like, we're going to say students have logged in and your opener is displayed. So you have a bell ringer shared on your screen. Most students are working, but a small group of students are having a side conversation. The TA is not addressing their behavior at all. You can see in the background, these students are talking, they're laughing, they're having a great time. So that you should have a place to add your name, and it looks like you've done that. Now to add a response, you're going to click up here where it says add card, and you can type your response right in this card. And then you can just click your response. What would you do if you were in this situation? Somebody is asking a
Can you
question.
repeat the situation?
Yes, absolutely. It's in red right here on my screen if you can see it. Students have logged in and your opener is displayed. Most students are working, but a small group of students are having a side conversation. The TA is not addressing this behavior. Okay, and after you have entered yours, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I tried to click on add a card to share my comment, but it does not come up blank. I click on it, right? What else do I do? Oh, okay, I see it now. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Oops. I don't know.
Pamela, this is Chris Weddington.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have the sign language teachers in a breakout room by themselves?
I do not have a list of the sign language teachers' names. I don't know who they are other than Brittany Burnett. I can see on my screen.
Right. She was asking to be put in that particular room. Well, we'll think about it for later on, okay?
Okay, we're actually getting ready to do the breakout rooms in just a moment. Do you have, or does she have a list of the sign language teachers, or could you send me a text if you need to be in a group?
If you need to be in a specific group for Brittany the interpreter, could you please just type your name in the chat box right now for everyone so that Pamela can put you in the proper group? Good, I see Leah Ulbrich. Are there any other ASL teachers here today that need Brittany's interpreting? Please put your name in the chat box and we'll make sure you go together. Thank you.
Okay, somebody's asking what the dots on the cards mean, and I was just about to explain
Pamela?
that. This is where you can
Pamela?
vote for the response that you like the best. You can vote 3 times. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, Pamela. I'm still not able to add my comment. I know I'm behind, but
Oh, that's okay. If you haven't, if it did not come up with your name automatically, you'll have to enter your name, and then you will click add a card.
well, I did enter my name.
Okay, do you see the add a card button at the top?
I do.
And this should let you add a response.
Yeah, but I can't, when I click on add a card, it doesn't come up, the little blank box.
With me either.
Wow, that is interesting. I wonder if you,
What browser are you in? What browser? I'm just curious.
Chris, I'm in probably Google Chrome, I guess.
Me too.
Okay.
It's like clicking on a PDF. You can't do anything with it.
Yep. You should be able to click add a card.
Nope.
I
Okay.
cannot do that.
Could it be pop-up blockers are on?
Maybe. Probably.
Okay.
okay. I haven't had this issue before. We're mostly going to work in a group. So when you get in your group, if you could just have someone else enter the response for your group, it will be fine as long as you can view the scenario. Okay, so let's talk about this one for just a moment, and then we'll start looking, going into our breakout rooms. So you can see the card that has the most votes here. Bring that group to the TA's attention. And yeah, another one. Thank you, X, for getting on task. Thank you for the positive behavior. Now, keep in mind the students are going to be wearing microphone or headsets, so the whole class may not be able to hear you. The students in the back that are talking, having their own conversation, they may not hear you when you are talking to the students. So you want to find a way to contact the TA so that they can get those students back on task. Maybe they're not aware of it. You may go back to this, what we talked about earlier. What would be the best way to communicate with your TA? If you want to send them a text message on the phone and say, hey, are those students, do they have another project that they're working on right now because they're not logged in? I would like to be positive and kind of give the TA the benefit of the doubt. Maybe the students have something else they have to do for a moment, or maybe they didn't notice, you know, and try to approach it in a positive way, but let them know that you see these students are not doing what they're supposed to be doing and you really need their attention focused on your class.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
How is this dot storming chat room different from the chat room in Zoom? Why should we, or do you recommend for us to use this one versus the other one?
Oh, no, I don't. And actually, this dot storming has a chat box in itself, and I don't have it enabled because I didn't want it to be confusing. Dot storming is just a totally separate tool that you can use if you want for a class project or a class discussion. If most of the time you're going to be in Zoom, you're going to be using the chat in Zoom. This dot storming is a website, a specific tool that I would use just for group work or a project. Probably not every day. Yeah, just for variety. It's just another tool at our disposal that we can use.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and I love the idea that you can vote on different ones, and so students are giving each other feedback, you're giving them feedback, and everybody's kind of contributing. So yeah, I like it a lot.
I'm sorry, can you use this as a grade? I know that they're supposed to be graded on chatting, on discussions. Can this be used as a grade?
I would totally use it as a participation grade.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, and you can, I'll show you real quick since we're talking about it. I'll change my screen share and show you what the teacher side of this looks like just real briefly, and then we'll get started. So with the group work. So from the teacher side, these are all boards created in Storming. They give you an example board where you can just kind of practice. These are all the different scenarios that we're going to work on today. And I created them here as all separate boards. And I can go in, I can remove your comment. If it's something inappropriate, I can just delete it. I can remove a user. So I have a lot of control. This is where I created this scenario. And I have these options. I can comment on it. I can delete it. any of those things. So that's what it looks like from the teacher's perspective.
Nice.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to go back here. I'm seeing a comment in the chat box. I think it's important not to call out the TA in front of the students, and I think that's great. A great thing to think about. You always, like I said, want to be professional and approach things in a positive way, just like you would in the regular classroom. Okay, send your TA a chat message. Use their preferred contact message. Yeah, you guys have some really great suggestions. So for the next 6 scenarios, I hope this is not too overwhelming. Each one of the bit.lys, I'm going to put them all in the chat box right now. But what we're going to do is we're going to go into breakout rooms, and I want to give you 2 or 3 minutes to respond to each of the next 6 scenarios with a group. And in this group, you can have one person in your group respond, or if you prefer for each person in your group to respond individually, that's going to be perfectly fine as well. So each of the next 6 scenarios, you're going to respond, and I'm going to, every 2 or 3 minutes, I'm going to broadcast out the bit.ly to the next scenario. So just to help with pasting, I'm going to put right now in the chat box all of the bit.lys for the next 6 scenarios. But again, I'm going to broadcast those out when you need to kind of be moving on to the next one. So what will happen is you will be in breakout rooms with a group, and Chris and I will be going from one group to another just to see if you need any help. There will be a help button if your group is having trouble, so you can ask us to come in there with you and help you. But you're going to be doing the exact same thing we just did. On a dot storming board, you're going to read a scenario, and you're going to consider all of the different aspects, talk about with your group how you would approach the situation. You may have to add your name to participate, and then you add your card and enter a response. As I said, you can have one person from your group respond, or you can have multiple people from your group respond, and that's totally up to your group. So right now, I'm going to create breakout rooms. Go ahead. Were there any questions or anyone had trouble reaching the storming
Hi,
site?
this is Shastina. I have a general question for you and Christine. I think this is probably going to affect how I answer or address the scenarios. As a new teacher, I'm just wondering, with the TA in the class, is there an expectation? Is it the TA's role to primarily address behavioral issues? Are we as the teachers not to address those directly, or?
It's not that you are not to address them, but primarily it is up to the TA. We're not in the classroom with the students, so there's a lot going on that we can't see and we can't hear. So it is primarily up to the TA, but if you see a student not paying attention, maybe ask them a question, or try to redirect them as much as you can. But most of the behavior issues are going to be left up to the TA.
Okay, because I think that was my struggle with this particular scenario, because I mean, apparently, even though I'm not there, it's obvious to me, and I can tell that there are students off task. So as a teacher, and just kind of because of my style, my first instinct is not to get the TA to address it.
Right.
My first instinct is to address it myself as a teacher, and this is my classroom. So I don't want to step on anybody's toes. So I guess I need to know what the expectation is, or what the standard is for that. Is that the role, one of the primary roles of the TA? Am I supposed to step back and let them handle that kind of thing?
Together.
I would, yeah. As Chris is saying, it's got to be a teamwork thing. You have to work on it together, because as far as any kind of consequences or something, we don't really have, there's nothing that we can do as a proximity teacher. The TA is the one that can go along with any kind of school behavior or conduct codes that the school may have. So you really have to communicate with the TA what's good. This is what I'm concerned with. But yeah, if you see a student misbehaving or off task, I definitely address that. Yeah, but you definitely have to work with a TA to get it worked out.
I have a quick question. This is Dion Lucas from Huntsville, Alabama. And for many schools going virtually for the first 9 weeks or so, when we are working with students who are working from home, are the TAs also logged in to the live session so that way we can work together? I think.
And Chris, you can provide some input on that as well.
The TA is supposed to be logged in. But think about it. If they're walking around the room, they can't exactly be sitting in front of a computer. That's why as you're going through the trainings this week, you're going to learn tips and tricks, giving a little shout out to my PD later on in the week. You're going to learn some ideas of how to contact them and what they should be doing. In other words, what a class looks like. And but they should be logged in one way or the other, or in contact with you, even if they literally are not in front of their computer like the kids are. Does that answer your question?
Oh, she's on mute.
Okay. And I'll add too, in my experience, I had a class where the TA was a substitute teacher. So if they weren't at the school, they were not getting paid, and they were not logging in when the students were sent home. However, I would expect, because all the schools are going to have a backup plan for distance learning this year, because we know it could be a possibility, that they may have different expectations for the TAs than they did in the past year. Okay, and Chris, if you give me just a moment, I'm trying to have the breakout rooms created. I just need to move around. Chris, if I go ahead and create the breakout rooms, can I then move specific people, or do I have to do that before they're created? I can. Okay.
Hi, Pam.
No. Okay.
This is Shelly. You go ahead and create them. And
Okay.
then there's a button at the top. If you toggle over it, you can assign them to a specific group after you have them created. So here's what I would do. I would go ahead and create them, let everybody get working, and then go back in and assign them to where Brittany is.
Perfect.
And all you new
Well, I would-
teachers, you hear us talking and working together, so that's exactly what we'll do for you. We all work together, we all
Absolutely.
support one another, and we all figure it out. You are not alone out there.
No way, no way. And Pam, I'm not going to join a breakout room. I'm going to stay in the main room with you and talk you through it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. All right. I'm going to open the breakout rooms. Hopefully you can join your group. And you will go on to the first bit.ly.
Hey, Pam.
Hey, Shelly.
You're doing an amazing job.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
You are. You handled that really well. So I just made an email for all the presenters moving forward what to do. So if you look at your list now, do you know which ones reached out to you? I think there's 2.
I have 3, Brittany Burnett, Leah Ulbridge, and Vania Kasov.
Okay, so find Brittany and see which room she was sent to.
Okay.
Your interpreter. You want to share your screen with me?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I guess I just have to share my whole screen so that you can see
Yes.
the list.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Because we're going to find whatever group she's in, and then we'll just go and assign those 3 teachers to her group. So I just see your dot thingy. It may not show it. Okay, so on your list, did you find Brittany, which group she's in?
I haven't found Brittany.
She's
Oh,
the
there she is.
interpreter.
I see her. She's in 11. Okay.
Okay.
She's in group 11.
So then
And
All
so
you,
is Benia. So
Mhm.
I just need to move one.
Oh, there's only
Sorry,
one?
I just-
Awesome. Perfect. So just move her in there and you're
There's
all good.
only one. Yeah.
Oh, I thought there were three. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Well, the other two are already together.
In Brittany's room?
Yes.
They have to all be with Brittany. Perfect.
Yes.
Okay.
So they should all be there. Okay. And I'll just
Awesome.
join that group and make sure that they're there and
Awesome.
everybody's okay.
Yes. Hi, Wes. Are you just not joining us or did you accidentally leave your breakout room? Are you there, Wes? Hi, Wes. Hi, Wes. Could you type in chat or show your video so we'll know where to place you in your group? Wes, can you reach out to me, please?
Hello, are you ladies doing okay?
I was a little late getting the comment in for our group.
Oh, that's okay. We're still in groups. Each group is working through all 7 scenarios. So do you need to return to your group? Do you have that option?
I am going to, oh, wait a minute. I need to go to bit.ly 3, copy, paste. I should be going. Am I in a new breakout room?
You are back in the main session. That's why I was curious as to
Oh, I didn't stay with my breakout room. I'm in.
somehow
room
you
9.
got out of your breakout room.
I thought we had to leave it to get back to the bit.ly.
No, you don't. You can have that in a separate browser.
Can you put me back in room 9, I guess?
Let me see if I can. Let's see. Room 9 is where you were. Yes, it looks like I can do that.
Thank you, Pamela.
Oh, sure. Okay, Carol. Let's see. Shelly, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can. Are you trying to assign her to a breakout room?
Yes, somehow she got out of her room. And I don't
I
see
left
her
the
lit.
room. I
Oh,
left the room.
do you remember what group you were
9.
with?
9.
So
Yeah.
just go in your breakout rooms and assign her back to 9.
I see a list of unassigned people, and she is not in that list.
Okay. So go to where she's at, then you can reassign her.
Okay, Carol Hill.
Sorry, guys.
It's okay. No worries. It happens. I do the same thing all the time. I click a button and leave the whole meeting entirely. It happens.
Oh gosh, now I have to move on to bit.ly 4.
No worries.
I just don't see her name anywhere in here.
And there's no way to assign her after she left the room. Okay, Carol, here's what I want you to do. Can you log off to this meeting and come back in? And then it will let you it'll let us assign you back in there.
Okay.
All right, we'll see you in a sec. Ooh, Pam, you're having my kind of morning.
There was someone else that was unassigned too that escaped their breakout room
saw
somehow,
her.
and I was able to reassign her.
I don't know what she did.
But I don't know where Carol went.
I don't know. She'll come back in, then we should be able to assign her.
Okay.
If it makes you feel any better, we've had all kinds of technical stuff, and I had a video that no one could access, and it's, it's like a wedding. Things are going to go wrong. So just got to smile and hang in there.
Now we only have 5 minutes left, so I guess we might only get 4 even out of the 7.
It's okay. Whatever you get done is fine. Being having too much is better than having too little. So
yeah, I was worried about not having enough. So
well, we didn't get into our room in time, so I got through 2 of the 5 breakout rooms, and I have to somehow incorporate them tomorrow, which will be a lot of fun because I already have 5 for tomorrow for the breakouts. All right, here we go.
Okay, I see her now. So back to room 9.
Yep.
That's where you're going, Carol. Back to room 9.
Thank you, Carol. All right.
Okay, I don't see any responses for the 4th bit.ly.
All right, I'm going to let you focus. I've got 4 minutes. I just wanted to pop in.
All right.
Tell me if you need me. Do you have my, if we're on GChat, like I watch my GChat, or you can always text me, Pam, if you need me.
Okay. All
All
right.
right.
Thank you.
Take care.
I guess we're back.
I hope I didn't interrupt any conversations going on. There was a lot of great conversations going on in your groups. We are almost out of time, and I don't think any group made it through all of the 7 scenarios, which is okay. It's perfectly fine. You guys are having some great conversations and really thinking about some of the crazy things that might happen when you're working with a TA. So I hope you liked using the dot storming tool and you were able to read over some responses that other groups gave. I love doing this. Seeing the responses with the most votes up at the top of the screen really helps to kind of focus on, you know, what we really kind of feel as a group or as an all class. Hopefully you were able to go back and review some of those things.
I have a question, Pamela. I was the one that
Now,
was super
since we are
lost.
so short on time.
I was super lost, but I really love this. How can we use it? Like, do you have instructions where, how do we use this with our students? Like, I love dot storming.
Awesome. You can, if I simply just Googled dot storming. You as a teacher have to create an account on dot storming. And there is an example board there so you can play with it a little bit. And it will kind of show you with instructions on how to create your own board. And then you just provide students with a link. There is a button, and let me show you my screen again. There's a button that says share in the top right hand corner right here. And this will give you the option to email, mine looks like it's going to move slow. It'll give you the option to email a link to your students or add students yourself, or you can embed it even in a PowerPoint or in Google Classroom or whatever tool that you're using. So this is how you can invite your students. And just like with you, your students won't have to use a username or password. They can just go to this website and they can participate. So, all right, now I really wanted to go back and talk about each of these scenarios, you know, as a group, but we're so short on time. I'm going to move on ahead. And just a couple of other things I want to mention before we go. When you're having conversations at the beginning of the year with your TA, and even your CSS may also have some information about this, but if your school were to close, because of COVID-19 or whatever reason, and students go back to distance learning, you want to talk to your TA about whether they're going to be logging in or not. And we kind of touched on that a little while ago. Also, if the school is closed, how will you communicate with your TA? And also talk about with your TA how you will change your, or if you will change any of your grading policies regarding late work or any of that, just so you have a plan ahead of time, since we know that that's a possibility this year. You're going to hear over and over with proximity, the key is flexibility, which is not so different than working in a regular school. You just have to adapt to whatever your school's needs are and just do the best that you can for student achievement. You may have more than one TA for a classroom. I had 2 for my this past year, and they kind of alternated. They may be a substitute teachers. And in fact, for a whole month, I had a principal that was the TA, and she had to come in and sit in the class every day because she did not have a TA. So there's going to be some different situations, and you just kind of have to be flexible and just roll with it. Sometimes there's going to be issues with your TA that you can't resolve without contacting your CSS. So you never want to argue with your TA, never ever argue with them. If there is a disagreement, you contact your CSS and they can handle that for you. So I would love to hear if you have any other questions. Like I said, I don't want to keep you over time. So I'm just going to remind you to take the assessment so that you have that certificate for coming to the lab today. If you have any other questions, you can submit them on this form, this Google Doc form. Oh, I apologize. Let's go back. So the Google Doc form. And I'm losing.
Pamela, I have
can you
a
hear me?
question.
Can you put that Google form in the chat box so we can all access it?
I think I can. Chris, do you have the link to the form for all questions regarding these courses?
Good boy.
I can find it for you if you give me just a moment, and I can put it in the chat box. And I think
Okay.
Chris also wanted me to remind you that she will have a office hour from 12 to 12:55. It's in the chat box. Okay, it is there for you in the chat box. So that is it. If you want to hang around for just a moment, I'm going to put the link to this form in the chat box for everybody.
Great.
in
Thank you
case
so much.
need it.
Thank
And otherwise,
you.
it was great to meet you, and thank you for coming today.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Pamela.
you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay, I think this is the link. There. Okay, so the questions form link is in the chat box.
Thank you.
Is that it, Pamela?
That is it. You are free to go. Thank you so much for coming.
Okay, that's cool.
Pamela, are the surveys and certificates, those are in Proximity University?
They are in Proxu. Yes.
Okay. And it'll say this class name on it?
Yes. There should be a link right under the Zoom meeting, I believe. It should come up available. It won't be available until after the class. So if you didn't see that earlier, that's why. But it should be available
Okay.
now that the class is over.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, Pamela, question. I have the same issue that somebody else mentioned before, that you go to ProxU and there's absolutely nothing, like
Oh.
absolutely nothing. And I've been able to get into ProxU, and I've seen all the different courses, and now everything is gone. So I already contacted technical support. They sent me to someone, and then that person sent me to someone else. That person sent me to someone else, and at the end, I just couldn't. I didn't get anywhere. So I don't know how to
Wow.
fix my ProxU issue.
Okay, and I am really not sure how to tell you to do that. You have the link to, let me pull up my You were able to find the class today though, so you have
Well, the
link to
reason, the way I found your class today, and I'm finding all of the other ones, is that catalog that was sent by email, and you guys put the link, and that's how I'm able to get in. But as far as going into ProxU and seeing anything, I already logged in, everything. There's absolutely nothing to see.
Wow, okay. Chris, are you
Technical
still there? Have you-
support can't help me.
Hey, Lorena, what's the problem? It's Maria.
Yes,
Okay, Maria.
It's regarding the issue I sent you. I sent you an email or a text earlier, and then you sent me to Miss Carrington.
Oh, is this Lorena? Hey, Lorena, yeah.
Yes.
Miss Weddington.
I go into ProxU and there's absolutely nothing. And I think another person here.
Oh, okay, okay, hold on. Give me 1 second. I think I just got an email about this. Hold on.
Okay.
I might have a solution for you.
Okay.
But go ahead and, Lorena, go ahead and get, I mean, not sort of, you can go ahead and, 12:02, you can start with the session. Oh, wait a minute. I'm in the wrong session. So was Chris Weddington here earlier?
Yes, she was.
So this session is over.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. I was like, why am I not in this session? Like, literally not. All right, hold on. Let me look. I know I just got an email about this. Okay. It was from Sabina, I think. Okay. It looks like some teachers have been directed to the wrong link in ProxU. The correct link is blah, 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 blah. Please bookmark this. Please do not send them this. Okay. So apparently there's two that are very similar. Okay. I'm going to copy it for you guys, and I will put it in the chat right now.
Okay.
Hopefully this will work. Okay, do you see it?
I see it.
Okay, try it out. Let me know.
Okay. Yes, this is exactly what I seen. I go to log in.
Try to log in. She said it's a very similar link.
Yes. Okay, so your capture was not valid. Please try again. So I'm gonna log in with again, re-log in, I guess.
Okay.
Maria.
Yeah.
I am having a lot of questions about where to find the link for the assessment for the collaborative lab, the collaborative TA lab that I just finished.
Okay.
And I don't know where to send everyone to the assessment. I sent a link to Shelly when I created it, but I'm not really sure where the assessment.
Okay, let me ask Sarah real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, invalid email or password. I keep on getting that. And I mean, I've been using the same password.
All right, so you went to Chris Weddington. Okay. So, all right. So now this is where you're going to go because this is the only other thing you can do. Hold on. If that didn't solve it, you need to go here. Training at Proxlar and just tell them what's going on.
Yes, I did. I sent an email.
Okay, so you're just waiting on that?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Okay. All right. Now, the other question, what was it? Sorry.
Oh, no, not.
Oh, about where to find the assessment. Sorry. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, okay. All right, Shelly. Okay. Okay. Oh, they'll be up in 24 hours. They're not ready yet. So we will give you a link as soon as we have it.
Okay. All right.
Hold on, let
That's
me see.
perfect.
Hold on. She might be telling me something else. I can see her dots. And also, hold on, I will forward you her email she sent out to them last week. I just started forwarding it back to them when they ask. Okay, I will forward you her email. I don't know what she's talking about. Okay, so what I will do then, just to make it easier for everybody to find, and this is what I have been doing, is does everybody have access to PLI Central?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you go to PLI Central, let me see if I can share real quick. Yeah. All right. So if you'll see my page, this is PLI Central. Everybody have access to this? You should.
Yeah, that's in Canvas, right?
Right. So when you go here, if you go to this one, the teacher team, that's basically the teacher page, right? I've been adding all the links here that we're using, like if you have any more questions. So what I'll do is when the assessment and the video, you know, all that goes up, I will link it here under one of these.
Okay.
Okay, just so you guys know where to go. So basically you're just going to PLI Central page, the home page, which as soon as you log into your account, you should have a square that says PLI Central. And then you can go to the teacher teams. Okay.
Okay.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, so 24 hours, I can let them know that in 24 hours they should have access.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because don't forget, we're literally doing this in real time, so we're uploading in real time. You know.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Bye.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye.
Sure. Bye.